Join me this morning for a walk in my neighborhood. It is another beautiful morning here in Merida, Mexico. It has rained last night quite hard, so there's probably going to be a lot of stuff in the street, debris. And I've lathered up in mosquito repellent because I expect those mosquitoes to be out in full force this morning. They were pretty bad with all the rain we've had earlier in the month, or late last month, I should say. Are you my cat's daddy? There's a cat that looks just like our cat that got dropped off. But the rain last night, I'm expecting it to have spawned new mosquitoes. I mean, it's been super bad. And as you know, mosquitoes have illnesses, or they carry illnesses like dengue and chikungunya, and I forgot the Zika. Zika is the other one. So don't want any parts of any of those, and hopefully my repellent will keep them away. So we are walking in the Colonial of Emiliano Zapata Norte in this area. And this takes us over to, we're going up to Labano again. We talked about Labano the other day. And I talked a lot about the Lebanese community here, or at least I mentioned it. This restaurant to my left, I've been in there. It's more of an authentic cantina, as the sign says. It's La Reforma. Had some really good Mexican food when I went there. And it was actually a recommendation from my barber when I was getting shaves at Juan Caminay. So we're crossing over Labano now. There's this place over here that I find interesting. It's called Casquito. And it's like a Costco delivery service. They'll go and they'll do your shopping for you and bring everything to your house. But I love how they use the colors and the brand recognition, because Costco here is a real thing. It is like a phenomenon. There's only one, but the whole family shows up and goes to Costco. It's a field day. Like, people make a trip out of it. Here we are, and I think this side of the street is actually Colonial, Mexico. Interesting story. We looked at this house right here that's under construction, and we made an offer, but they said it was too low. They've now torn it down. It was really weird lot structure, but they've torn down a big part of it, and they're building a very nice house there. So that was one of the few houses I considered. To the left of me right now is the Lebanese club, the Lebanese school. We talked about that in the previous video, but I need to get out of the street. Looks like they've already started taking students in for the day. So my goal for this morning, if the camera doesn't cut out, is to take you guys over through Monte Cristo, because we hit the right hand side of this on the way to Manifesto Coffee. So perhaps I'll just double back and head left, and we'll go to like Monte Cristo, end up near Montebello. But I would love for you to see how beautiful that area is of the city. I remember the first time I walked through this area. Oh, that takes me into the club. I don't want to go to the club. So that is the Lebanese club back there. And if I kept going, that would have taken me into like the area of the private club. We're gonna hang a left. For some reason, I felt like I could walk back there though. Maybe I was wrong. But I remember coming through here the very first time, and there was this big old church back here to the left, and I was like, wow, this is a nice neighborhood. I've actually looked at when homes went to rent in this area. On this street, I always thought this was a nice street or a nice area. You can see the big building we were talking about. I can actually see that building from my house. I'm just really 3 or 4 blocks away from the house right now. But that building, the big buildings to the right, straight ahead, is 1H. That's the street we were talking about the other day. So this is the other side of all of that. Yesterday I was a bit ambitious and I did a 5K run, and then I rode back on the in BC, which is the city rental bike system that we have here. You just use an app, unlock a bike, you know, share bike share program. Yeah, this is the street that has the church. This is such a beautiful neighborhood in the morning. But I rode back 3.1 miles, so I did a total of a 10K yesterday, and I'm a little sore. So yeah, I did need to walk around. So this is the exit for the Labano Club, and this is the church I was telling you about. A beautiful church that's over here, and just in the middle of the neighborhood. Like, so I remember walking up on this. It's like, wow, this is pretty. Look how beautiful that is. Beautiful, beautiful view. Very nice and quiet neighborhood, and you're really just off of the main street, but really quiet neighborhood. Let's look at the sign and see. This is a, oh, you hear the laurels? I don't know if you can hear, those are parrots, yellow parrots. There's 3 of them. So yeah, this is Fraccionamiento Residential Colonial Mexico as well. Buenos días. So this is the other side of Fraccionamiento Residential Colonial Mexico. We looked at the right-hand side, the south side. So this is the northern part. Buenos días. So that behind me is a Privada. Let's walk down here because I want you to kind of see. I mentioned this in the previous video, and this is Colonial Privada Real Colonial Mexico. So within the residential subdivision of Colonial or Residential Mexico, which is where I am right now, there's a Privada inside of that, so even more exclusive. And as you can see, there's a security guard inside of the guard booth here. So this, everything back there, all those houses, those are, you know, one way in, one way out kind of thing inside of a Privada. But it's inside of a subdivision. So it's a Privada that's inside of a fraccionamiento, which is a subdivision. But I'm sure there's some really nice homes back there. And this one. So I think I was saying about the construction, not sure if I finished that thought, but it's amazing how that house, you know, they were able to tear it down and basically rebuild it up. The lot was pretty small, but it looks like it's going to be a really nice house. Here's some small townhomes over here. So now we're getting towards Monte Cristo, just before Monte Cristo, San Antonio Center. So this is called Colonial San Antonio Center antes Monte Cristo. So it's like a part of Center just before you get to Monte Cristo, which is interesting. It's one of those little communities in a perfect spot that I would tell you to check out, because they're kind of tucked. They're in a great location. It's just another little section tucked between two communities, which is kind of how like Emiliano Zapata Norte is. It's between San Ramon Norte, which people know, and good morning, buddy. And dog came around the corner like, what are you doing? Which a lot of people know Emiliano Zapata. A lot of people know San Ramon Norte, and they know Colonial, Mexico, and Emiliano Zapata Norte is just in the middle of all of that. All right, so we are definitely in Monte Cristo now, unless we're in that little area still, the San Antonio Cinta antes de Monte Cristo, but I hear the main street back there. We're straight ahead. Yeah, I didn't realize that. So everything to my right is at Colonial San Antonio Cinta antes Monte Cristo. There's some townhomes over here. We've looked in Monte Cristo before at buying and renting. There was a home that we really liked, but the timing was wrong. Forgot to start my workout. Hopefully Siri will get me back. So I'm coming up on the main street, which is Calle 22, and to my right over there is the Glorieta, or the crossover, or the roundabout that I was telling you. So if you keep going down to the right, you'll end up at the fruiteria. But I'm gonna walk on this side because of the shade, and I may cross back over. But some really nice homes. This is a pretty major street that comes through here. It goes up to Montebello, which is where we're headed to now. And everything to the left and right of me at this point is really Monte Cristo, which is huge. Monte Cristo is a big colonial. And I'll try to take you by. There's a neighborhood or a house a couple streets over. Beautiful home. Beautiful koi pond. Oh, beautiful koi pond. I don't know if you guys saw that, but you gotta watch these streets. I'm definitely paying attention to what I'm doing. I still tripped up. When it is. So there is another Privada within side of Monte Cristo, the Fraccionamento Monte Cristo, which is to the left, the subdivision. And it has a Privada that's pretty exclusive back there inside of it. Let's see if my watch was able to track. Yeah, it looks like I got how far I am. So we're only a mile from my house right now, which I consider all this stuff the same area, really. But we're definitely still in the golden zone. Like, this is probably the best area of the city between Monte Cristo and Monte Bello. Yes. Lots of wealth on this one street. And this is Calle 22 in Monte Cristo. So you can pull up Google Earth, Google Maps, and kind of see some of the homes for yourself. But staying straight ahead on this street takes you to the Supersheds Rally Selecto in Parque Calia, which is where we have a lot of events. turn right. We're on Calle 10. And as I said, Monte Cristo is huge. It goes to Montebello, and then the next neighborhood up or area would be like Alta Brisa. And I hope I didn't turn. This is probably a dead end. So I've been down here before, but we'll just walk it, come back around. Yeah, the main purpose of me walking today is just to loosen up my hips and cut down on the soreness, because I think I want to run tomorrow too. So it's tough getting into shape. Look at this house, it's gorgeous. Wow. It's tough getting into shape, so definitely want to stay in shape. Man, these are beautiful homes. There's like 4 homes on this little street and they're gorgeous. Beautiful. And an empty lot. So I think that is my strategy. Once I become, hopefully, I can become a Mexican citizen soon, in the next year or so. And once that is accomplished, to buy land and then build whatever I want to build onto that land. So that's kind of my goal, or strategy, I should say. Those things could happen now, but the land would be in a trust called a fideicomiso, and you'd be paying on it every year. So 10 was a dead end. Let's try our hand at this next street, which is probably 12. Which is 12. And this does not appear as dead-endish. Alright guys, so we are on Calle 12th Street, or Calle 12. And this is Montecristo. This street cuts over. It's kind of like a cut through. I absolutely love this neighborhood. So today we're going to visit, we're going to go through the rest of Monte Cristo. This is kind of, I would call this the north end of Monte Cristo. Here in Mexico, I've talked about this in other videos, but the pet culture is a little weird, right? So most homes have, or a lot of homes have dogs, and many of them have them for security, for just to alert or what have you. As you can see, even on this street, everybody has security cameras as well as gates. So your home is behind a gate, and then, the public sidewalk, like this is the sidewalk, it is open, but you cannot step, even if the gate is open, you cannot step inside of someone's garage or gate. That is against the law and trespassing. But nobody cares. Like if you walk on the street, if you park on the street, if you park in front of someone's house, like there's not going to be any type of Karen or coming out telling you, oh, you can't do that, or any type of problems with any of that. I don't know. I guess, your property stops at the street, honestly, because many folks, you're responsible for like your sidewalks. So the homeowners are actually responsible for this part of the sidewalks, and you'll see them coming to clean up. We're walking under a carambola tree. You guys see the fruit? This neighborhood, as I said, is big, and there's some really big homes over here. These are, this is certainly the wealth center of the city, where the upscale mansions are. This is just one area. I really like the streets here in this area to walk and run. People walking their dogs. This week is actually our 6-year anniversary of living here in Merida, and man, when I tell you, it's gone by really quickly. It has definitely gone by. Buenos dias. Super fast. this circle that we're going through, this is inside of neighborhood Monte Cristo. And the thing that is so big about this neighborhood to my right is like the subdivision in Monte Cristo. This is what I was saying about the sidewalks, that they have their pavers all the way out to, or the stamped concrete all the way out. So they're responsible for, this house is responsible for this portion of the sidewalk. So we are headed in the direction of Avenida Comercio, and that we'll make a left, and then we'll head back towards I'll take you back, and we'll go through the neighborhood, the fraccionamiento or subdivision of Monte Cristo. This is the northern part of Monte Cristo, and this pretty much goes up until you get to the Cumbri School, which I'll see if I can point out when we make this right hand turn. I really like this house here. I noticed the first time I walked by, they have this really cool koi pond, as you can see. Fun fact about me, I was a koi keeper in Atlanta. I had almost a 4,000 gallon pond in my backyard in my Zen garden. So I had a whole Japanese style garden built in my backyard at my house in Atlanta. And in that garden I had maybe 42 koi that I raised from fry. I had like 12 that I bought, and the rest I raised as they started to reproduce. I selected the best ones and then gave the others away. But here's a home for sale. Notice it's not listed on a website. There's a phone number that you would have to WhatsApp if you want the information about that home. For the King Vision folks, you may notice that this is not the same day. So I'm actually shooting this about 2 weeks apart. This second part. Oh, there's my favorite bird on the wire. Oh, he just flew down. Did you guys see him? I hope I can get him in the video. Let me see if I can walk over to where he flew. This is a brown-throated mott-mott. Extremely sacred bird here. And he's up in this tree. He may have flown straight through it because I don't see him up there. Yeah, he may have flown straight through. Hopefully you guys got him on the first take, but it was a brown-throated mott-mott, which is a very, very special bird here in the Yucatan. He has a tail that has kind of like an arrow, and that tail he wiggles I guess to attract other birds or animals or insects, I'm not sure. But it is also the national bird of El Salvador. It's the same bird but it's the national bird of El Salvador, and it's just a very special bird here in the Mayan culture. So this is the roundabout. This street that we're crossing over now, or going down, is Avenida Comercio, and to the right, on the right hand side over there, is Montebello. And if we go behind us straight up this street, we will end up in Altabrisa area, the Altabrisa Mall. If you see those two big buildings behind you, those are over in the Altabrisa area. One day I'll go over my buddy's house and just park and walk from there, and kind of show you Altabrisa. This is, if you look at a map, and there are often these maps that kind of show who, where, what people live in what area, and this is considered the rich area of the city, and there is a lot of wealth here in this city. But we are now in Montereal. So this Privada, these couple of streets, this part of the city is Montereal. As you see on the right hand side, there's the Privada Montereal, which is right behind the Sonora Grill and a Starbucks here. This plaza is the urban center, I believe it is. I always get it confused between Uptown Center, which if you just keep straight, I believe Uptown is in Altabrisa area, and that is at the end of a major roundabout. There's also another Starbucks there, but this is Urban Center. And Urban Center has our Super Chedraui Selecto, which is like the Whole Foods Chedraui. Also Smart Fit is above it. So this is actually in Montereal. And across the street is Parque Calia. There's a little track that people walk and run around Calia, but that's also where my wife does a lot of events. It's in Parque Calia. She will host like Easter events and things of that nature over there. This neighborhood to our right is Monte Alban, just past this green area. To my left is a hardware store. It's kind of like the local Home Depot, in a sense. It's called Baxito, and I just went there. That's where I got the pool pump. If you watch the plumbing video from last week, the pool pump was here, actually at Baxito, and I was surprised at how inexpensive it was in Baxito compared to. I didn't even price it at Home Depot. I saw that it was on sale here, so I just came back here and bought it. But I think the prices are probably a little bit better in Baxito. So we are headed back towards my house now, and this is the street we turned off of to go on 12, and we just kind of went around through the northern part of Colonial Monte Cristo. But I'm gonna take you just behind this neighborhood to the right, which is Monte Alban. I'm gonna take you into the Colonial, the subdivision of Monte Cristo, so you can kind of see the houses there. We actually looked at renting one home in that neighborhood, and it was massive. It was I didn't like the layout, but the house is big and it had plenty of space. It was, let's see, I think it was 4 or 5 bedrooms with rooms for offices, which was nice. So that neighborhood to the right over there is the Monte Alban neighborhood, and it's in an interesting place. It's like right between, I would say, San Ramon Norte and Monte Cristo. I don't know. Can you see that big tower that's behind me? I'll fly. That big building that's going up behind me is going to be huge. It is a residential tower. I believe it's called Luxury Place. It's been a while since I've driven in that area on that street, but that tower is going to change this area as far as traffic. It's already kind of bad on that street where they're building that tower, but it's just going to increase it because now you have all of this vertical living, right, in this big building. And of course it's going to be a luxury tower, but yeah, that one's going to change the area. And that's a lot of what you see happening here. I'm going to cross over right here. So the one thing I'll tell you about Monte Cristo is that these are multi-generational homes. Like, you know, you may have, and that's not uncommon here, is you have, you know, mom, grandmom, grandparents, kids, grandkids, everybody looking after each other, you know. So that is a very common thing. Both of these houses on this street, they have their own cul-de-sac, which is kind of cool. The one here and then the one across the street. I know when I first drove down the street, I'm like, who lives in these houses? Because they're huge. But again, this would be, in my mind, like, you know, Beverly Hills of Mexico, right? Or Merida. Or using Atlanta reference, this is West Paces Ferry. Finally made it into Fraccionamento Monte Cristo, which is the subdivision here in Monte Cristo, and I got to tell you, there are some super nice homes in this neighborhood. I encourage you to go to Google Earth, Google Maps, and take a look at some of the homes in this neighborhood because it is really cool. There's also a Pravada in this neighborhood that has even more exclusive homes. Now, if you like this type of video, do me a favor, hit the like button, share it. But more importantly, if you see that hype button, go ahead and hit that hype button for me. It's a new feature that helps small creators like myself get exposure to new audiences. So if you get a chance, hit the hype button. It's generally below the description notes of the video. Last but not least, tell me what was the most surprising thing for you in Colonial Monte Cristo. And finally, I've shot the next video in this series, which is of Campestre. So if you want to know all about the neighborhood of Campestre, stay tuned for the next one. Until next time, this is MexitPlans Monty. I'm out.